Right, gang, welcome back. We are week 3, Zwift Racing Monthly events, Crit Club. I love a crit race. I don't really understand how they work, but they are just always so fast. 20 seconds till we go. Some details on the course. It's 9.6 miles, so what, 15 point something K. It's dead flat. So I did check the results. This race favours the big boys, big riders, big watts. So here we go. Let's get rolling. Let's get off the line. Let's roll, guys. My avatar takes a sharp right into the middle of the pack. I struggled this race. It was super tough. The thing that I found hard was, you will see, this whole race is done at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I could not sustain it. So you see us go off the line. We're going pretty hard, and this is a race only course. It's part of the New York map. Nothing really special about it. I presume it's meant to be loops around Central Park, staying on the low levels. You're in the park the whole time. Small little rollers, and because it's a Z monthly event, there's a ton of people, like close to 80 riders in this, 35 to 40 in the front pack. Dived into the front pack feeling pretty good. 3 power-ups. I think it's draft, feather, and then the other one, whatever the lorry, whatever that is, the other version of the draft thing, where it improves your ability in the draft rather than it improves your or reduces your drag. Anyway, we're going off pretty hot, and I knew it was going to hurt. I mean, look at our speed. We're 28, 29 miles an hour. The wattage, for me, I mean, I'm going to give you a quick spoiler alert. I bail on lap 4 out of 5 lap race. Training volume is quite high. I'm trying to get in as much of everything at the moment, probably trying to do a bit too much, and this was just way too much for me. I think what happened is a couple of guys from a certain Zwift club decided to join in, and then they went turbo and was just dragging the group around. I think a few people kind of dive in the chat. But I did notice that I went into Zwift Power at the end of it, and all the guys that won it are like 90 to 100 kgs. So it's one of those things where it's like, it is literally just power. It's a flat course. There's no little hills. There's a small little roller at the top. But the guys that did well are the guys that can hold 300 watts for a prolonged period of time, or at least the half an hour it's not even half an hour. I think it's like 25 minutes. I think for this course, if that. Anyway, my aim, like once I realised how fast this race was going to be, was just to try and see whether I could stay with the pack. I'm in the Zwift Pride jersey, white socks, kind of making my way through to the front at the moment. Obviously that's just a draft effect, not kind of anything deliberate. Right, let's get back let's kind of go into the finer points of the race itself. The plan is just to sit in the pack and try and ride it out. I kind of noticed that the wattage was always 230, 240, like way more than I was comfortable with. So the plan was get in, hold on. So a lot of the time I am just trying to make moves to keep with the group. There's 45 of us up front. You can see my position's 38th, and there's probably a few people behind me-ish. So let's say there's 45 of us, maybe a few more. And if you keep an eye kind of down the road the whole time, there's always people kind of doing bits, making moves, dragging people along. You know that in a big group like this, the break is never going to be a 1 or a 2 person break. But there can be a break where half the group will split. And that was basically my fear, is that when it strings out like it's stringing out now, is that if I get caught in the second part of that split, then I've got a bridge, and I don't have the beans to bridge when you need to hold 350, 400 watts for a couple of minutes just to bridge and then ride in the group in front. And you can see my wattage at the moment. This is like, I think my FTP wattage is like 280 at the most. So we're getting there, guys. Like, I mean, this hurt. And so it looks like the group breaks a little bit. If you look at the little map top right, it's definitely strung out, and I realise I'm in a bad position for this. So I'm stepping on the gas a bit, 350 odd watts, trying to just like make sure that I keep my nose in the game. I don't know why. It becomes like I'm 360 watts, 350. It's just continual high wattage. It felt very much like a BCAT race. I think it's just the fact that it's so flat, and it didn't help that I'm doing run bikes every day at the moment. I just don't. Yeah, I definitely felt a little bit fatigued. But forget that. This race felt fast. You keep an eye on my watches the whole time. I'm always bumping of above 300, 320, 350 watts, which hurts, and it hurt me. So here's the finer point: is that this is that it's like a micro climb, tiny little mini climb coming in. So you go over that, and then you roll down to the finish line. Obviously, the finish line is the arch for the event, so that's where you pick up another power up. So you always want to use your power up before going over that finish line, and because there's that gentle incline just before you get there, most people tend to use their power up on that last incline. I don't want to call it incline, that last roller, and then you roll over the top of that, and then you come downhill, and it's a move towards the finish line. So on the first 4 laps, it's completely irrelevant, but you kind of know that if you've got skin in the game on the 5th lap, that's going to be the pivotal point. Sorry, that's going to be the pivotal point of which something's going to go down. We just dived into lap 2. I'm at the back of the group, and this panicked me because when we went around that corner, you can see me just dive out the saddle a little bit. You look on the mini map top right, we've dropped a few people. Then look top left, we're holding 350 watts, and then the groups look like there was that half chance that it was going to break. Someone's obviously going over the line or getting into that position and going hard, and they're holding it. And then luckily we come back together after like a bit of a push. But I mean, look at the state of me in the video. Just like I am hanging on for dear life. Like I am working. And although my heart rate's not too high, 160, like this really hurt. I think that was kind of the indicator that perhaps it was fatigue more than anything that got me on this event, on this race, because my heart rate's 160. I could easily hit 165, 168, and then hold that. But today just wasn't going to be that day. Again, we're back in the 300, 350 watts just to kind of stay in the group. I think we're dropping a few people every lap, which is probably a good thing, because the reason it's good is you kind of want to get a group of 20 odd, because then the whole group will move as one and respond. If there's a group of 40, 45, and you get caught in the back end of that group, and then the group splits and you're out of position, then they're gone. They're just gone. I love it when people diving. So people are diving into the chat, basically telling the AHDR guys who have turned up to this race, they're like, "Can you guys chill it out a bit?" And I thought, in the spirit of racing, I thought that was quite funny, because I thought a race, I always treat a race like a race. Like if someone's going to go off hard, then they've got to make that stick. They've got to be able to pull that off. Asking people to slow the tempo down so we can ride as a group to improve an overall finish time. Yes, I see the point in it, but it's also not the point of racing. Anyway, this one really hurt, and they weren't happy. The AHDR guys, I don't know who they are. I never really come across them too much. They were like, well, yeah, if you want to slow the pace down, get to the front and slow it down, which obviously was I think it sounded like a trap, because if you get to the front, you're going to increase the speed of the group. So I tell you what I did like is I always liked my positioning on this course, the sitting on the right hand side, and Zwift has now given people the power to position their bikes more by being able to move their handlebars. I don't include that functionality. I don't use that functionality, but I see it can be incredibly useful for racing. We're coming out to that last little incline, so you'll keep an eye on people's power ups. There's my power up Aero Boost. That's the one I was talking about. Is the Aero Boost, a little kick up to 500 watts as we go up the hill, and people are still moving away. So there's a lot of people putting in some really good shifts. It seems like I checked Zwift Power at the end of the race. A lot of kind of 3.1s, 3.2 watts per kg on 100 kg. So they're putting out, on average, 310 watts for the race, which for me to move that quickly and to hold that kind of wattage, given that, obviously I don't need to hold that wattage being a slightly lighter rider. I'm 78 kg, and it was just like, it was tough. I found this whole race so hard, but I love it. I'm definitely going to give it another go. I'm trying to figure out when I can fit it in, because these flat and sustained speed races, or these fast flat races, like my cadence, that was the one thing I was trying to focus on. So I'm always up 100, 105. That's where I was like, take the sting out, the strength of it, and like how hard it is, and just try and get the speed and the cadence of your legs to do the work for you. What I did like about this, tons of people throwing the ride-ons out during the race, which I appreciate. Like, tons of people are in there being like, ride on, which is cool. I always appreciate that. Usually me. I actually didn't throw anything in the chat this race. I don't know why. I just wasn't really in the mood. I kind of wanted to just keep my head down and be like, right, let's see what happens. But it's cool to see the AHDR guys. I think that must be their kit or someone's kit, because that looks quite cool. A whole group of people wearing the same kit was quite nice. We are rolling around the back side of the course now, and this is interesting. I managed to find myself at the front, which is exactly where I do not want to be or do not need to be. I do have a feather, so this bit was, I basically drop out to the outside, and then I make the decision that I don't want to be at the front. I also don't want to be on the left-hand side, so I let myself drop back. And then obviously, if you let yourself drop back, you've got to be careful with it, because you don't want to fall all the way off the back. Because I then wanted to move back through either the middle or the right-hand side of the group. I'm not sure why. I feel like I favour the right-hand side of this course on some of the turns. It just feels like a better position to be. Anyway, drop back, sit at the back. Here I am again. Me being at the back, I want to put it like maybe 10% down to choice, 90% down to just like everyone being faster riders. But it was cool. Then you see these little moves. I reckon we're down to 35 riders now, and then you can kind of see that we're about to drop another, like someone's making moves again. 400 watts. Just stay on the group, just keep moving. I'm pretty happy with myself. Like, actually, I say that I'm literally about to fall off the entire group, but we're rolling. Yeah, again, another 400 watt corner, just what we needed. Thanks, guys. So we roll into this last section. We're coming around to the end of the lap. I've got my feather. I know that I'm not in this. Look at me. I'm just kind of moving backwards, and I can't hold it. I am sweating and working so hard to try and stay in the mix. And if you're working this hard just to stay in the mix, then you're not going to have anything when it comes to a sprint. And then I kind of was wondering, do I have 2 more laps in me at this pace? And I think the simple answer was no. Here comes the little roller up into the finish. Everyone uses their power-ups, and then we'll just see who burns it off, see what the pace is, and then the effect that has on me. My watts carry me through into the middle of the group. Everyone then powers up. Some guy drops the metal, and a couple of guys go on a sprint. And then you just kind of know that if they're going to hold the wattage after this, I'm doomed. I'm gone. So, I'm holding 300 watts coming up the hill. Everyone's dropping the power-ups. Tons of people see the move, cover the move, and go for it. And then I think I decide to go the other way. Tuck the tail between the legs. And then just kaboom. Internal combustion, absolutely destroyed. Combustion, just absolutely blown up. There's me gone. I'm off the back. I did decide to, so this was the interesting thing, I decided to cycle the rest of the race holding about maybe 200 watt average, maybe a little bit less, 195. Just because I wanted to put a time in for 1, I wanted to complete the event for 2 in case I don't get more time the rest of the week. But then to check Zwift Power, and Zwift Power had me at 3.2 watt average, including the easy laps. So thanks a lot, guys. I will see you at the next one.